Here's looking at you, kid. Look at I have ice water today with lemon in it. Mm. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm doing everything I know to do while we are quarantined with this coronavirus thing. And you know, honestly, I hate to admit it, but I'm kind of enjoying it. And I'm reading things about people and their marriages and how they're grumping at each other, and I'm going, you know, I have to tell you, there's a lot of merit to being alone. I mean, this is my domain. And I mean, I do find myself grumping at Guido a little bit once in a while. I mean, Guido and I live here alone. And you know what? It's okay. You know, I don't like it like the other day we had an earthquake. And of course, the earthquakes have been the last fear that God has removed from me. I still don't like them. But you know, before, when there was an earthquake, I was distraught for 2 weeks waiting for the aftershocks. And we've been having aftershocks. We had one today. And surprisingly, I'm so absolutely calm. You know, I stood in the doorway the other night. We had that 4.9, almost a 5-pointer, and it was very close to us. And you know, how close it is to you is how big you're going to feel it usually. And I just stood in the doorway, which they say you're safe under a doorway. And I said what I always say, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I mean, what else, you know, call on the name of Jesus, you know. And Hannah was here with me, my granddaughter. And we just rolled right on through it. It was so easy. And when it was over, it was over. We sat outside for a while just to be sure, you know, that I always have this feeling I like to be outdoors when there's an earthquake. I don't know why. I don't know if you're any better off, but I feel better off, you know. So we sat outside, but we really bonded. And then she said, you know, Bobby, I'll stay overnight with you tonight. And she went upstairs and slept. I said, no, when there's earthquakes happening, I do want to be downstairs. I have to say that. So I slept down here and she slept upstairs. And I said, you know, Hannah, you're so brave. You know, that's really, I mean, when I was her age, I was so afraid of earthquakes. So I'm real grateful that she's brave like that. You know, today is Palm Sunday, the Sunday before Easter. And, you know, we're all quarantined in the house. And I think I told you on my other video, it's interesting because I think this is the first time since Passover back in Egypt, before the time, even before Jesus, before, you know, he was even born, it was BC, and that God's people were in a house, like a Sabbath almost, you know, and the timing is so interesting that it's right, Sabbath starts this Wednesday, and today is Sunday as I'm doing this video. It's going to be interesting to see. This would be a great time for God to really do a miracle. You know, I don't know that he will. I'm not a prophet, but you never know what might happen. I'm really anticipating the Passover. It starts on Wednesday, but it goes for a week. So, you know, we have that whole week that we are going to be locked in. I think it will be a great time for God to show himself. And, you know, one of the things I want to say, I went to my little church service today over at my friends, Frank and Addie. And this is the third week in a row. They have a driveway service. You bring your own chair, and we sit 6 feet apart outside, and Frank does the sermon and sings. And you know, we had some people down the street today that came down throwing the F-bomb at us and just saying awful things. And you know, I want to tell you something, you guys. The persecution is starting against Christians. I could see it so clearly today. And God bless Frank, he just kept saying, God bless you, God bless you. I wanted to get up and slug him in the puss. You know, I really need you to pray for me because honestly, I have a warrior spirit. And I want to go to battle physically when they do stuff. I've never been one that wants to hit anybody, but I want to get in there and I want to tear them to shreds with my tongue or something, or pray a curse on them, you know, which is not the right way to handle this, by the way. I have to tell you, I really, really came to God in earnestly today and said, God, you know, I need your help because I've been on Facebook ripping people up when they say something that isn't true. I just start tearing them to shreds with my pen, you know, telling them off. And that's not how we're supposed to do this. Look, these people that don't know the Lord right now, if I stop and think about it, I feel such sorrow for them. you know, they have a curse on them because you either are blessed or you're cursed, one or the other. The only blessing you get is when you're under God's umbrella. Otherwise, you live in the world, and the world has a, you know. And so they're walking in such a curse at any moment. They're like going through landmines, you know. And so our heart, it said Jesus looked at the people and he was moved with compassion. So if I stop and think like right now, I can have compassion. But when I get right in the thick of it, I start reacting. So I've told God, you know, I really need your help. These times are severe. These people don't even know what they're doing to themselves. The ground could open up and swallow them up, just like it did in the time of Moses when they were grumbling against the leader like that. They're ripping Trump up one side and down the other, and they're saying things that aren't true. And I mean, I just get in there and I just got to tell them a thing or two. I mean, you know, well, I need to be praying for them. And so help me with that. Please pray for me. If you're watching this video, pray for me because I'm not sure. I mean, God gave me this character, this warrior type character. I don't believe in just sitting back. I think sometimes we have to fight. Now, I know the word says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but of powers and darkness and principalities of the dark. So it's a spiritual battle. But I do think that sometimes we have to get in there physically as well. So I'm not sure how to handle it. So I need your prayers. I said all that to say this, to say that I need your prayers. Also, today, Frank said something that I loved. So Frank, if you're watching this, thank you. I loved this word he gave us at church. He said, if you will change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. Don't you love it? I'm going to give it to you again. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And you know, I want to say, I think we all need to hear that today. You know, the way we're looking at politics, the way we're looking at each other, the way we're looking at those that come against us, the way we look at our mate that we're cooped up with, that you're cooped up with, not me, but you, that you're cooped up with. Mamma mia. So glad I'm not cooped up with anybody. Anyway, so, you know, try looking at things different. Ask God, say, God, show me things the way you see them. Ask him. He'll show it to you. You know, there was something else I heard, and I think Frank said this last week. Yeah, this is good. He said, if you ask God, you know, like people say, I don't hear God, I can't hear God. Okay. If you ask God a yes or no question, it's much easier to hear him. Isn't that kind of simple? Try that. If you're having trouble hearing God, try a yes or no question and see what happens. Now, remember, you don't hear God with an audible. You don't hear him with your ears. I mean, you could. I never have, but you could. You hear him in your spirit. Generally, it is a strong feeling that something is right or wrong. You know, you just get this yes or no, and it'll come very quickly. Take your first impression when that happens. Tell God, I am going to ask you something, and I'm going to take my first impression of what I hear. So ask him a question, and then wait and get your yes or no answer. I thought that was really good. I never heard that. It's almost an immature way to talk to God, because if you're not used to communicating or listening for him, then you need to be simpler. So I like that. The other thing, while we're on that subject, I'm going to tell you, let me see how long I've talked. Oh, gosh. I have to save it for next time. I really went off, and I hardly said a thing. Oh, well. So, hey, this is Velma Hagar with my book, Hidden Treasures in Secret Places, on Amazon. You can also private message me, and I will send you an autographed book. Now, you know, this thing I'm going to talk about that I didn't get to today, I'm just going to give you a little of an interest here, is how you know you hear God. How do you know when it's God? I'm going to tell you how, but you got to watch my next video. I usually put a video out on Friday or Saturday, but because we've been staying home and everybody, you know, they have more time, I've been doing a few more, and I've been a little bit more radical with them, or, you know, not radical, but a little bit more just flexible. Okay, I think I pulled it off. I don't even know what I said. It's one of those days, I'm home alone, listen to my bird, talking to my refrigerator and my vacuum cleaner and stuff like that. Okay, you guys. My water with lemon in it, and you should be doing it too. So good for you, full of vitamin C. And notice how the lemons don't have any rinds on them? The rinds are in there soaking in vodka because I'm making limoncello again. And after I make the limoncello, I save the lemons and make lemon water. Am I clever or what? Okay, you guys, until next time, this is your friend, Velma Hagar, bidding you a blessed day. Remember to take care of your body, and remember to look at things differently. It matters. Bye.